I'm gonna be emotional because I'm still, like, I ain't gonna cry. I ain't gonna cry. Like, I don't usually be feeling like that, but I feel so happy on the inside. Man.
And we're happy for you, Dame. It's okay to let out one tear. As he was officially reintroduced late last night, he addressed reporters at around 9 o'clock Eastern yesterday evening. Here's what he said about what it's like to be back in Portland.
I think if we're all being honest, we obviously never wanted to see him go. And even when he did, we all wanted to see him back.
It was something that I never wanted to happen to begin with. You know, even once it was like I knew I was being traded, like I don't know if I ever let it go. You know, it was hard to let go. I literally, after I tore my Achilles and I felt it, and I was sitting on the floor, I grabbed it and I rolled over and I sat up. And the first thought that I had to myself was like, I'm about to come back from an Achilles. We got to the back, and when the doctor said, you tore your Achilles, like I think everybody else had more pity for me than I did. Like I had the PTs, like, you know, about to cry and all of that stuff. Like I didn't cry. Like you said, it's a mental battle, but you know, if it's I don't lose those.
I told him that this year he's going to be the highest paid assistant coach in league history.
Like Chauncey said, I'm basically going to be like an assistant coach. So I'll be around, and with this being a younger team, it's a lot of things that I can share, you know, without having to be on the floor.
A lot of ground covered there, but I gotta say, it's good to see Dame back. It fits Damian Lillard back in Portland alongside Bobby Marks, Shanae Agumake, Ramona Shelburne, our Stanford sisters rocking the Cardinals red here. Our senior writer, Brian Windhorst, beaming in. Brian, when you look at Dame's return through the lens of what this means for the Portland Trailblazers in the short and long term, how are you viewing this team in a really crowded Western Conference?
Well, that had to be very therapeutic for Blazer fans, seeing those images and hearing from Dame sitting in front of the Blazers logo again, because the organization, quite frankly, hasn't been the same since he left. They've been in a rebuild. They didn't have high expectations, but they've been underwhelming even in their status of their rebuild. So I think it's a great moment for Blazers fans. This particular way they've structured this deal, where they're paying him the full mid-level this year and next year, I guess it's a value next year, but this year they've got $40 million in dead money when you include the buyout to DeAndre Ayton and what they're paying Dame to be an assistant coach by their own admission. But they traded for Jrue Holiday, who's a $100 million investment to win more immediately, while they've also got this young team and a star player they're not going to have till next year. So they're kind of stuck in between both worlds. And I expect them to have good nights and bad nights this season, and I do not see them as a playoff team.
Shanae always says the worst place to be in the NBA is in the middle. I get all the warm and fuzzies, though, seeing Damian Lillard back in Portland. But from a team perspective, Shanae, they talked a lot about wanting to win. I was a little bit surprised that they leaned less into the nostalgia in this conference, which there were times. But also, this is a team that still has ambition to win in the West.
Well, they still have another year of growth for the young stars before Dame really comes back. And if you think about it, you know, the word that comes to my mind is peace. You're going to see a peaceful transition of power. Dame is now the quote-unquote assistant coach, right?
Right.
But now he's going to be able to show the young guys what it takes to be great at this level, which I love. And it also gives peace to Dame, because pursuing a championship comes at a cost. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But at least he found that peace again. And so did the fans, because everyone loves to see him back, you know, at least from a PR perspective. But overall, what you're seeing is someone that is going to come in still at a high level a year from now and be able to lead and show people what it means to be great. So I do see this as a win-win, even though on the books it might be weird. And yes, this team is definitely in the middle. I do think this is one of those things where you look from the outside, you're all still advertising what you want your program, your franchise, your organization to be.
Yeah.
And this was a good move by them to show people we're building for the foreseeable future. Maybe not the next 2 years or 3 years, but we still are a destination worth looking towards.
Brian Windhorst, it is July 22nd, okay? And I need some good news. I need the warm feeling. I need the story. Like, this is, listen, if we're talking, if we're in November, December, and this happens later in the time, okay, fine, we can talk about whether they're really going to win this year or not. But for right now, can we lean into nostalgia? Because I covered when he left there pretty deeply, and it was not a great exit. Like, they did not, and he talked about this with Joe Cronin when he said, it was really on us that we never really had those conversations. There was a lot of little things that added up to him feeling, and them not feeling great about him and him not feeling great about them. And you kind of got the sense that he never really wanted to leave. He even said it there. And most of the time when people say that, I don't believe him. I believe Dame Lillard. Like, I believe he never wanted to leave Portland. And so on July 22nd, can we just feel good about things in the Pacific Northwest?
And I think everybody does. As a University of Portland graduate, Damian Lillard was a staple and now is a staple again. It feels right. But it's not just us, Ramona. It's the Trailblazers that we're talking about their ambition, that we're talking about winning, that are looking at their books. I'm going to turn to Bobby from accounting here to make sure that we got the books right. But they are set up here. Damian Lillard's contract is structured so that they can try to make another push.
Well, I mean, I look at it almost like pre-free agency.
Okay.
As far as here we are. And I think we're going to show Portland on the touchscreen right now with them. They were going to be able, they had that non-tax mid-level exception already, right? $14.1 million. Who are you going to use it on? You might as well use it on Damian Lillard, even if he's going to sit out for the whole year. So you get probably one of the best free agents available in 2026, but you get him now. Now, here's where your roster could certainly look like differently next year. We put him in there for Shaedon Sharpe. Now that adds to the dynamic of Lillard and Holiday. Here's some things to keep an eye on. When Damian Lillard signed that contract, the second year descends. Portland is in position next offseason to go out free agent shopping. You'll get a max salary player.
Wow.
That's keep an eye on there, right? The extensions of Shaedon Sharpe and Toumani Camara certainly play a role. But here's the other thing. We forget about this. Remember, Damian Lillard was traded to Milwaukee. Remember what came back. Portland has control of their 2028, 2029, and 2030 Milwaukee Bucks first-round picks. So they are certainly in a position to add in free agency and also go into free agency.
I love that breakdown, Bobby. It's basically, sorry, Wendy, it sounds win-win. You make the fans happy, you make Dame happy, you have flexibility by the books, and you can sign a free agent for the foreseeable future. So maybe the next 2-3 years may not look as bad or less competitive. Like, they're actually putting themselves in good position.
Well, I think they've signaled all year that they are trying to be better this year. They're not tanking again. This isn't playing for the draft again. They found Denny Avdija. They found Klingon. They found Shaedon Sharpe. I mean, I think they have some pieces now to build around. And now they have the hole that they got for Damian.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, and it seems like, again, they are not just saying that we're going to bring back Dame. They want to have a couple of moves that Bobby just laid out that they're able to deal here, to be able to put a roster around Dame when he comes back to at least be interesting. I don't know if that means a play-in team. I don't know that means a top 6 team, but at least be interesting here, Wendy. Last word on this.
So the one thing I will say is this kind of reminds me of something that the Indiana Pacers did about 15 years ago, sort of one generation ago.
Yeah.
David West was a respected veteran, former All-Star, was coming off of an ACL tear. People weren't sure what he was going to have left. The Pacers had some young guys, a young Paul George, a young Roy Hibbert, a young George Hill. David West came in and was the veteran who really lifted that whole organization, and they were in the conference finals very quickly. I think that's the kind of